You've probably heard of Tom Thumb, the Elephant Man, perhaps even Chang and Eng. But what about Eli Bowen, the legless acrobat, or Dave Ballard, the tallest giant? These were just a few of the many stars that shone during the heyday of the American sideshow. And in this video, we're going to look at the 15 most incredible historical sideshow freaks that actually existed. Let's start off this list with number 15, Dave Ballard. Dave Ballard was 7 feet 7 inches tall and wore every inch of it with tired grace. He was born in Texas in 1905 and grew slowly at first, like normal babies, but then kept going. His size opened strange doors, acting gigs, circus jobs, and holiday stints as the world's tallest Santa Claus. At cocktail parties, he played a pirate. In vaudeville, he was a Keystone cop. But the questions followed him everywhere. What's the weather like up there? Where'd you get the stilts? They weren't funny the first time, and they didn't get better with age. Dave worked with the Christiani Brothers Circus in the 1950s and later joined Ward Hall's show under the name The Texas Giant. He had patience for crowds, but not for drunks, and once said he avoided fights by simply holding people at arm's length. When illness caught up to him in 1968, he quietly stepped out of the circus spotlight. Big man, quiet presence, never just a punchline. Number 14, Sylvester the Mummy of the West. Sylvester wasn't always famous. In fact, he wasn't even supposed to be found. His body was found in 1895, dried out in the desert near Gila Bend, already mummified by heat, time, and maybe a bit of arsenic. Some thought he'd been shot. Others believed he was preserved by a curious doctor experimenting with embalming. Either way, he ended up on display. Over the years, Sylvester was shown off in barbershops, fairs, and world expos. He even became a parlor curiosity, hidden beneath a glass panel in someone's couch. When the doctor who owned him died, Sylvester went back on the circuit. At one point, promoters even claimed he was John Wilkes Booth. But scans in the 2000s showed something odd. His organs were still intact. Today, you'll find him sealed in a case at Seattle's Ye Olde Curiosity Shop. There is no name or tale, just a body that wouldn't quit, passing through history long after the man himself was gone. Number 13, Mills Darden. Mills Darden was massive. He wasn't the tallest man on record. He stood around 7 feet 6, but no one came close to his weight. By the mid-1800s, he was believed to weigh over 1,000 pounds, but people remembered him. His coat wrapped easily around 3 full-grown men. His breakfasts included a dozen eggs, 30 biscuits, 2 quarts of coffee, and a gallon of water. He lived in Tennessee, ran a tavern, and preferred a quiet life far from fame. But people talked. They said he could drag a stuck wagon from the mud by himself. He once pulled a bull backward. He saved a freezing man by lifting him clean off a horse and into safety. He didn't like scales and refused to be measured, so others did it for him, by loading rocks into his wagon until it dipped just the same. When he died in 1857, they needed 17 men just to lift his coffin. Number 12, Sideshow electric chair. Well, it wasn't a human performer, but anyway, it drew the same kind of stares. A real 1940s electric chair once traveled as part of a circus sideshow, positioned like a prop but treated like a symbol. It was meant to spook, not to shock. Audiences came up close, pointed, whispered. Some even posed beside it. The chair resurfaced years later during a Potter and Potter auction in Chicago, part of Dave and Mary Jane Price's extensive collection of oddities and circus artifacts. Dave had been collecting since the early 1950s. His father ran the famous Egyptian Hall Museum, and the house they lived in was basically a museum itself. Walls covered in posters, drawers packed with relics. Mary Jane worked as a press agent and brought in her own finds. Their collection included everything from rare lithographs to sideshow taxidermy. But the chair, it stood out. It wasn't flashy or grotesque. It was plain, wooden, quiet, and it reminded people that the circus world didn't just flirt with death. Sometimes it staged it, and people trust it. Number 11. Le Pétoman. Joseph Pujol could hold a room's attention with nothing more than a well-placed fart, and he made it an art form. On stage at the Moulin Rouge, dressed like a concert pianist, he bowed, smiled, and performed with his rear. After seeing him, the audience roared. He could imitate a wedding night, a thunderstorm, and even a cannon blast, just with controlled bursts of air. Known professionally as Le Pétoman, he cleaned himself religiously, gave himself enemas before shows, and practiced his technique until it was flawless. There was no smell, just sound, and he wasn't a joke act. He earned more than top headliners like Sarah Bernhardt and sold out theaters across Europe. He even played rubber tube flute solos and once extinguished a candle from a foot away with precision. Eventually, he got tired of the fame and opened a bakery. But even after retirement, he kept his backstage routine. Not for applause, just for discipline. There were no gimmicks or illusions, just one man, one stage, and an unforgettable kind of control. Number 10. The Yankee Yogi. Charles Griffin didn't follow a path. We mean, he carved one. His early life bounced between Missouri and Iowa, but what stuck wasn't where he lived. It was how he lit up a room. By the time he was in his 20s, he had a traveling act that didn't fit into any single box. Fire-breathing, sword-swallowing, contortion, ventriloquism, and sleight of hand. He named himself Professor Griffin and called the act the Yankee Yogi. Crowds didn't always know what to expect, but they remembered him. His beautiful wife, Octavia, later joined in as the Serpent Enchantress, adding live snakes and movement to the chaos. Together, they toured the U.S., performed in Paris, and made their living as a team. Later in life, they returned to Iowa and stepped away from the spotlight. But Griffin never really stopped performing. The name, the stories, the work, it was all part of him. He didn't need permission to be seen. He made sure of that. Number 9. Alfred Pilgrim. Well, before CeeLo the Seal Boy or Frida Pushnik ever drew crowds, Alfred Pilgrim was already on the road. He was born in the 1880s without arms or legs, and his exact condition wasn't recorded, but it didn't stop him. Around 1890, Pilgrim began touring with a manager and a roster of sideshow acts. His companions included Big Mary, a cheerful, oversized woman, C.P. Blatt, the horseshoe-bending strongman, and William Wells, who cracked his head against solid objects for laughs. But Pilgrim didn't need tricks. He threaded needles, wrote beautifully, and was known for his grace. Described in ads as happy and carefree, he became known for signing documents with stunning elegance using only a short stump near his shoulder. In 1918, he shocked onlookers at a Los Angeles courthouse when he registered for military service, penning his name faster than anyone else in the room. Pilgrim hoped to serve as an army penman. It's unknown if he ever did, but he left no doubt he could do anything. Number 8. Madame Dimanche. In early 1800s Paris, Madame Dimanche kept her head covered, not out of modesty, but to hide something most had never seen. By age 76, she was growing a dark horn straight from her forehead. At first, it looked like a smudge, then a bump, but it kept growing. Over the next 10 years, the horn curved across her face, eventually reaching nearly 10 inches in length. She avoided mirrors, avoided people too. Fortunately, a French surgeon eventually removed it using an early form of plastic surgery. The strange growth became famous, and her wax likeness, complete with a horn, is now displayed at the Mutter Museum in Philadelphia. Her story appears in medical records alongside other cases of human horns, including a Mexican porter with one branching into 3 shafts, and more disturbingly, a man who grew one from his genitals after circumcision. Madame Demanche didn't become a show act. She just lived with something no one could understand, and left behind a beautiful face no one easily forgot. Number 7. The hair-hanging wonders. It looks like magic, but it's pain, precision, and a lot of practice. Victoria Medeiros and Whitney Neves are known as the hair-hanging wonders. One suspends the other, by the hair, high above the arena floor, while spinning, juggling, or gliding on silk. What keeps them up is no illusion. Human hair has real strength. A healthy head can hold over 20,000 pounds. But raw strength isn't enough. The neck, shoulders, and back must be constantly trained. Victoria trains every 3 days and sticks to a hair-healthy diet packed with vitamins, eggs, and avocado. No blow dryers, no chemicals, and only her husband, Andre, is allowed to tie her hair before shows. "I don't even trust myself," she says. She started in gymnastics at 5, later performing high-wire motorcycle stunts with Andre. But hanging by the hair? That was her idea. "It's painful," she admits, "but I love it." Some days are harder than others, but she never stops, and she never looks down. Number 6. Lizzie Reed. Lizzie Reed never shouted for attention. She didn't have to. Standing just under 3 feet tall, she moved through Barnum's elaborate midget courts with quiet focus. While others put on royal airs or played to the crowd, Lizzie played her part with care. She wore tailored gowns, posed for portraits, and stayed on the circuit for over 30 years, long after the shine wore off for most. We don't know much else. No memoirs, no drama. One photo survives. A small, corseted woman staring ahead, more dignified than dramatic. Her husband's name barely made the record, but Lizzie kept the illusion running, tending to details, smoothing the edges, keeping it all believable. And that might be what makes her remarkable. She wasn't a gimmick. She wasn't there to shock. She stayed in the shadows, helped the act shine, and outlasted them all. For a show built on spectacle, Lizzie Reed didn't play the star. She made sure the stars had a stage. Number 5. A bodybuilder romance. Miriam Kate Williams had a kind of strength that didn't just lift weights, it moved people. She pulled carts at fairs, broke up fights, and once yanked horses out of a burning stable. She was 16 when she met William Hedley Roberts, a gym owner nearly twice her age. He left everything behind to build a new life with her. Together, they became Atlas and Vulcana, touring the world with an act that didn't need tricks. Vulcana's power was real. She won medals, made headlines, saved lives mid-tour, and still raised 6 kids on the road. The act kept evolving, but she never softened who she was to fit in. Her body was strong, but her choices showed even more strength. Roberts leaned into stage drama. Vulcana didn't need the theater. She had the work, and it spoke for itself. After her passing in 1946, what remained wasn't just a legacy of lifting, it was a woman who owned her strength without apology. All right now, let's move to number 4, Robert Aitken. Robert didn't have a long list of tricks. He only needed one. With a double backhand motion, he could flip his hat off using just his arms, folding his joints in a way that looked like something from a puppet show. That one motion was so unexpected, so smooth, that it drew gasps and laughs every single time. People didn't understand how it worked, and that's why they loved it. He had an extreme form of joint hypermobility, but there were no dramatic stories or freak show embellishments. He just moved differently, and he made that his act. No makeup, no mask, no exaggerated tales of origin. On stage, he smiled through the motions. Off stage, he stayed friendly and unbothered, often chatting with guests who asked how it all worked. Most couldn't believe someone could make a career out of one move, but he did. Robert Aitken didn't need shock or spectacle. He had grace, precision, and the kind of body that didn't follow the rules. Number 3, the Great Lafayette. The Lafayette lived for illusions and died inside one. His act was the kind of show that didn't just entertain, it consumed the room. He had fire, animals, trapdoors, and his famous closing trick, the Lion's Bride. The lights would dim, the lion would roar, and moments later, Lafayette would reappear in its place. Crowds never questioned how it worked. They just cheered. But on May 9, 1911, during a performance in Edinburgh, one of the stage lamps fell. The fire spread too fast. He'd ordered backstage doors locked to protect the secrets of his show, and that locked everyone in. 11 people died. So did Lafayette. At least that's what they thought. The first body they recovered was one of his doubles. Lafayette's real body was found later, curled under the stage. For years, he had built illusions no one could unravel. But the flames revealed what the applause never could. A man so committed to the act, he vanished inside it for real. Number 2, Barnum's plowing elephants. Only Barnum would look at a vegetable field and see a marketing plan. In the 1840s, he ordered a team of elephants to plow the land in front of his mansion, Iranistan. Not to grow food, he didn't care about that. But his house sat right by the railroad, and the sight of elephants dragging plows would stun every train passenger headed into New York. That was the point. Barnum later admitted the stunt was nonsense. It cost him more to feed the animals than the land ever gave back, and once people stopped gawking, he sold them off. But it worked. For weeks, crowds came to see the man who casually farmed with elephants. His museum saw a spike in visitors. Newspapers wrote about it, and his name got bigger. For Barnum, facts were optional. Spectacle was the real crop. The plows weren't for farming, they were for headlines. Number 1, Miss Amelia Hill. Amelia Hill never blended in, and she had no interest in trying. Born somewhere in New York, she weighed 300 pounds by age 12 and carried it with boldness. She posed in Eisenman's studio with full confidence, chin lifted, corset firm. At just under 5 feet tall and 475 pounds, she wasn't quiet about her presence. On Bowery stages, in tents with names like Forepaw Cells or Barnum in London, Amelia became the star attraction. Her act wasn't just about size, it was about attitude. In 1905, she teamed up with fellow performer Mary Peters in a boxing ring. 2 women, bloomers on, throwing punches for a roaring crowd. And when she demanded $50 a week in a signed letter, she got it. Amelia didn't see herself as a curiosity. She saw herself as a professional. Her size wasn't her story, it was her leverage. And every time she walked on stage, she made sure people saw a woman who controlled the room. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for hanging with us, and we'll see you very soon.